Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel once again. Alright, so I skipped 12.5 because it's just on health issues related to human nervous system, which I think you can read it on your own, do research on your own, which will be better for you. Okay, so I will also post a blog link in the description box so you can have the notes there. Alright, so today we are going to look at 12.6, which is the endocrine system, still under chapter 12, coordination and response in humans. Alright, even 12.7, there will be another blog link, okay, for the notes. 12.7 is also health issues related to the endocrine system, so you can read it through that. Alright, so yeah, so 12.6, so you can get your pen and paper ready and let's do this, take notes. Okay, so let's look at the learning standard. Wow, okay, there's a lot of learning standards today. Okay, so we have the first one, state the role of endocrine glands in humans. So you must know what is endocrine glands first of all. Okay, and then you identify the endocrine glands. Okay, identify and label the endocrine glands in the humans. Okay, and then analyze the function of hormones secreted by each endocrine glands. Okay, we have the hypothalamus, which secretes gonadotrophin releasing hormone. We have the anterior pituitary gland, which secretes the growth hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH. And then we have another part of the pituitary gland, which is the posterior lobe, that actually secretes oxytocin hormone, antidiuretic hormone, and the thyroid that secretes the thyroxine hormone. Okay, pancreas gland is also another gland, endocrine gland, which secretes insulin hormone and glucagon hormone. Adrenal, which is the in kidneys, okay, which secretes the adrenaline hormone and also aldosterone hormone. Ovary and testes, okay, the reproductive glands, which secretes estrogen, progesterone, and also testosterone. Okay, and then you have to discuss, okay, the involvement of nervous system and endocrine system in fight or flight situation, and then you compare and contrast the nervous and the endocrine system. What's the difference between nervous system and also the endocrine system? Okay, so the coordination system of the body, all right, needs cooperation between the endocrine system and the nervous system. Now, both systems, okay, play an important role in maintaining homeostasis. Alright, even though both systems have different functions, they actually interact and complement each other to regulate and coordinate all processes and activities in the body. Okay, so we have this endocrinology, which is a branch of medicine, okay, which is related to diseases of the endocrine system and also problems with hormone secretion. So now, what is actually endocrine system? Now, endocrine system, okay, is made up of glands that synthesize and secrete chemical substances, okay, which in this case is actually hormones. Now, the endocrine glands, sorry, are actually ductless glands, okay, they are ductless. Okay, so it actually releases hormones, okay, directly in the blood flow or the interstitial fluid. So now, even though the hormones, okay, all the chemical messengers, okay, are transported throughout the body, but okay, the hormones only influence and affect specific target cells. So how this happens is that only a small amount of hormone is needed to produce effect, okay, to regulate, coordinate body functions. So the hormones will actually bind to the specific molecules. So if you look at here, okay, the hormone will bind to specific molecule receptors on the membrane surface of target cells and produces specific responses. Okay, now the endocrine system of human is made up of many glands. Okay, so the gland here of many glands. Alright, so the glands secrete different hormones only involved in actually specifically psychological process. Okay, the glands secrete different hormones involved in specific psychological process. Now, the function of hormones, okay, can be divided into three main functions. Okay, we have reproduction, we have hormones for growth, and we also have hormones for homeostasis. Okay, so a gland is actually a structure which secretes a specific chemical substances or any kinds of substances. Okay, so which actually chemical substances. So we have sweat gland, gastric gland, thyroid gland, and also salivary gland. Okay, so we have two types of gland. We have the exocrine gland, okay, which secretes an enzyme into a duct. But we also have endocrine gland, which actually secretes hormone. They have no duct, they are ductless, okay, and they have a rich blood supply. Alright, so we have exocrine and endocrine gland. Okay, so both endocrine and nervous system, they work together to regulate the homeostatic mechanism. Okay, certain parts of the nervous system can either stimulate or arrest the secretion of hormones, while certain types of hormones can actually stimulate or arrest the transmission of nerve impulses. Okay, although certain physiological processes need both the nervous and endocrine system to work together, there are also others that require only the endocrine system to regulate them. Okay, for example, the endocrine system alone regulates the menstrual cycle and also the human growth development. So basically, the endocrine system is very important in maintaining homeostasis, okay, and also to release hormones for a wide range of activities such as heartbeat rate, okay, to control metabolism, blood glucose concentration. And the endocrine system also involved in some physiological processes which does not involve the nervous system. Okay, example we have just now I've said menstrual cycle, growth and development of secondary sexual characteristics. Okay, endocrine gland. The pituitary gland is known as the master gland of the endocrine system. So we have the pituitary gland, okay, because it actually secretes hormones that control the secretions of many other endocrine glands. Okay, for example, we have thyroid gland, adrenal gland, and the ovary and the testes. Okay, so now the pituitary gland sits just below the hypothalamus. Okay, we have the hypothalamus. So this is the hypothalamus. So just below it is the pituitary gland. Okay, it has two lobes. Okay, we have the anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary. Okay, lobe. Now the anterior pituitary gland is said to be the true endocrine gland. Okay, which produces both trophic and non-trophic hormones. Well, trophic hormones are from hypothalamus that control the release of hormones from the anterior pituitary gland. Okay, examples, the thyroid stimulating hormone, which is the TSH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, which is the ACTH, and then we have follicle stimulating hormone, FSH, luteinizing hormone, LH. Okay, and the non-trophic hormones are produced by the anterior pituitary gland itself, such as growth hormone and also prolactin. Okay, trophic and non-trophic. Alright, and the posterior pituitary gland is not true gland. Okay, produces or secretes oxytocin and also vasopressin. Okay, but they all come from the pituitary gland. Okay, the hypothalamus. Okay, the hypothalamus actually links the nervous and the endocrine system by the way of the pituitary gland. Now, it receives and processes inputs, okay, or impulses from the central nervous system to influence the secretion of pituitary hormones. Okay, it has neurosecretory cells that actually secrete a few types of neurohormones that control the secretion of pituitary hormones. Alright, so the hypothalamus also secretes gonadotrophin releasing hormone, the GnRH, to actually instruct the pituitary gland to secrete the FSH and the LH, the follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone, okay, which will then actually stimulate the testes and the ovaries to secrete sex hormones. So basically the pituitary gland secretes the trophic hormones, okay, or the hormones that control the secretion of other hormones to act on their respective targeted organs. Alright. Okay, so let's look at the hormones of pituitary glands. That's a lot. Okay, so we have the pituitary gland, the anterior and also the posterior lobe. So there are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hormones that you should know that actually stimulate another gland to produce another hormone. Okay, let's look at thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH. Targeted organ is on thyroid gland, which stimulates the thyroid gland to release thyroxine. Okay, and then we have the adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH, which targets the adrenal gland to stimulate the adrenal cortex to release hormones. This is for urine formation and so on. Then we have the follicle stimulating hormone. Targets is the gonad, which is the ovary and testis, to stimulate the development of follicles in ovaries, okay, female, and spermatogenesis in males, okay, production of sperm. Then we have the luteinizing hormone, also targeting the gonads, which is the ovaries and testes, okay, which controls ovulation, development of corpus luteum, secretion of estrogen and progesterone in females, and secretion of testosterone in males. Then we have the growth hormone, which targets the bones and soft tissues, okay, which stimulates the elongation of bones in the body, basically helps to grow. Alright, and then we have the non-trophic hormones, which is produced by the anterior pituitary gland, which includes prolactin, okay, which targets the mammary gland to stimulate lactation in mammals. Okay, and then we have the oxytocin, okay, which also targets the uterus and the mammary gland. Okay, so this is important during contraction of uterus during birth and also ejection of milk from the nipple. From the posterior pituitary gland, they do not actually synthesize any hormones, but they actually store and release two hormones, which is the antidiuretic hormones, the ADH, which actually helps to enhance water reabsorption in the kidneys. Alright, that's all. Now, so you can have a look at this. You can copy this chart down, okay, the secretion of hormones, okay, which signals from the nervous system. So you can know that the hypothalamus, they has neurosecretory cells, and then we have the anterior and the posterior pituitary gland, which secretes hormones, which is targeted to other glands. Okay, so you can have this copy down before we move on to the next slide. Okay, so let's look at the gland itself. The first one, let's look at thyroid gland. Now, thyroid gland has the shape of a shield, okay, and it lies in front of the neck. Alright, so this gland actually secretes thyroxine, which contains iodine. Okay, so the thyroid stimulating hormone, or the TSH, okay, from the pituitary gland stimulates the secretion of thyroxine. Okay, and function of the thyroxine is actually to speed up cell metabolic rate, stimulates the normal and normal physical growth, and also mental development. Okay. Okay, so now let's look at the example of how hormones actually work. Secretion of hormones actually works. Okay, secretion of hormones actually because of the other hormones. Okay, for example, the hypothalamus will actually produce the thyroid releasing hormone. Okay, releasing hormone that will actually stimulate the pituitary gland, the main gland, okay, to produce the thyroid stimulating hormone. Okay, thyroid stimulating hormone, which actually stimulate the thyroid gland to produce thyroxine. Okay, so pituitary gland cannot produce thyroxine directly, so it has to stimulate the thyroid gland to produce thyroxine through the stimulating hormone, and then this thyroxine works on the targeted cells, okay, to increase cell metabolic rate and so on. Alright, so basically thyroxine level also, okay, hormone levels actually undergoes homeostasis, okay, where if the level increases, it has to be brought back to normal. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay, let's look at adrenal gland now. Adrenal gland sits on top of both kidneys. Okay, so each adrenal gland consists of an outer adrenal cortex and a central adrenal medulla. The adrenal medulla secretes adrenaline hormone, and the adrenal medulla receives signals from the CNS, central nervous system, via spinal nerve to actually secrete adrenaline or noradrenaline under stress condition. Okay, so adrenaline prepares the body in fight or flight situation, okay, to increase the blood sugar level, heartbeat, and also respiratory rate, okay, and also actually metabolic rate. Okay, so heartbeat rate increases, breathing rate increases. Now, adrenaline also stimulates the conversion of glycogen to glucose. Okay, and the adrenal cortex produces several hormones such as cortisol, aldosterone, and androgen. Okay, cortisol stimulates the conversion of lipid and protein into glucose, and is produced under condition of stress to actually increase blood sugar level. Okay. Aldosterone is actually important in stimulating reabsorption of sodium ions and water in the kidneys. And androgen is important in reaching puberty. Okay, it regulates the maturity of sex organs and also development of the secondary sexual characteristics. Now, what about pancreas? Pancreas is located beneath the stomach at the inner curvature of the duodenum. Okay, the beta cells, okay, of the islets of Langerhans of pancreas secretes insulin, and the alpha cells secretes glucagon. Okay, I repeat, beta cells secretes insulin, and alpha cells secretes glucagon. Okay. So we know that insulin actually lowers the blood sugar level by stimulating the conversion of glucose into glycogen for storage in the liver and muscles, and the oxidation of glucose in cellular respiration. Okay, glucagon actually rises the blood glucose level by stimulating the conversion of glycogen to glucose in the liver. So it's both way around. Okay, let's look at gonads now. Gonads consists of 2 ovaries and 2 testes. Okay, the ovaries actually sits at both sides of the pelvic area of the females, and the testis sits in the scrotum of the males. Okay, the ovaries secretes estrogen and progesterone hormone. Alright, now estrogen actually regulates the development of female sex organs, stimulates the thickening of the uterus wall to prepare pregnancy, and also stimulates the development of secondary sex characteristics of female. Whereas progesterone actually helps in maintaining the thickness of the uterus wall for embryo implantation. Alright, what about the testes? Now, the testis secretes testosterone hormone, okay, to stimulate the development of male sex organs, and also helps to stimulate the development of the secondary sexual characteristics of males, also controlled by the glands. Okay, done with that. Now, let's look at the involvement of the nervous system and the endocrine system in a stressful condition. Now, have you ever been in a state of fight or flight situation? Okay, that means, have you been in a very stressful condition, dangerous condition? For example, when a dog or a goose suddenly chases you, how do you feel in a situation like this? Okay, your heartbeat will actually beat faster and your palms will sweat. Now, what causes this condition? Okay, so this is what you're going to learn in this next part. Okay, so now in an emergency or a fight or flight situation, the hypothalamus transmits nerve impulses directly to the adrenal medulla. Okay, and the adrenal medulla cells are actually stimulated to secrete adrenaline and noradrenaline. Okay, so these 2 hormones act quickly to produce the required responses in a fight or flight situation. Okay, this includes an increase in heart rate, respiratory rate, blood pressure, blood glucose level, and also metabolic activity. Now, the question here is, how is this related to the nervous system? Okay, let's take a dog chasing a person as an example. Okay, so now what happens is that first the sensory receptors, okay, the eyes and the ears will actually detect the threatening stimuli of the angry dog and transmit the nerve impulses via sensory neuron to the brain for processing. Correct. Now the hypothalamus, okay, the integration center, the hypothalamus will transmit nerve impulses through the motor neuron to the adrenal medulla to secrete adrenaline to the bloodstream. Okay, look at the chart. Now, adrenaline prepares the body for the fight or flight situation and action by increasing the blood glucose level. Okay, by actually converting glycogen stored in the liver into glucose. Okay, and also increasing the metabolic rate, increasing the heartbeat rate, the respiration rate, and the rate of blood pressure. Okay, it also helps in constricting the arterioles, okay, vasoconstriction under the skin to actually increase the blood supply to the muscle. Also, the response will be dilating the pupils to let in more light, okay, for more sensitive vision. For example, if the danger is in a dim light condition. Now, all the fight or flight physiological responses is to stress is to prepare the body to take action, and in the case of an angry dog, it prepares the body to run away. Okay, simultaneously, the endocrine system is also involved to prepare the body in stressful situation. Okay, for example, the hypothalamus stimulates the anterior pituitary gland to secrete the adrenocorticotropic hormone ACTH. Now, the bloodstream transports the ACTH to the adrenal cortex to stimulate the secretion of cortisol hormone. Okay, so these cortisol hormones will actually help to prepare the body to deal with emergency. Okay, cortisol hormones are the main emergency hormones that will increase the blood glucose level, the heart rate, the respiration rate, and the heightened focus to deal with the threat. So it's a simultaneous reaction between the nervous system and also the endocrine system. Okay, now what is the similarities and differences between endocrine system and the nervous system? Okay, the endocrine system works together with the nervous system. All right, and certain part of nervous system stimulate or inhibit the release of hormones, and some hormones promote or inhibit the generation of nerve impulses. So they are both, they both work together. They need each other. Okay, so you can have a look at the similarities and differences between the nervous system and the endocrine system. This is in your textbook. If you don't have the textbook, you can copy it down in your notebook. But you have to know the differences and the similarities of a nervous system and the endocrine system. Okay. Okay, so we are done. We are done with that. Okay, so once you are confident, you can continue to do formative practice 12.6. Okay, where they ask you name the hormone that is related to the function given. So they give you the function, you detect the hormone without looking at the book, of course. And then number 2, state 3 characteristics of a hormone. Then you compare between the nervous system and the endocrine system. Okay, you can use the chart given. Now, number 4, a pupil finds herself followed by a van and suspects there is an attempt to kidnap her. In a state of panic, the pupil is able to run fast and far away from the van. Explain the fight or flight in this situation. So, yeah, so you can talk about the transmission and how does that creates the response. So, yeah, the answers will be given in the description box below. So do it before you check your answers. Alright, with that, I will end my video here. Thank you for watching and please do not forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Okay, bye-bye.